Welcome to Sonic Goodies, episode 8. My name is Miguel. Today we got a very special guest that I'm really excited about. The future superstar, rising indie music artist. We got Hadji Gaviota in the building. Everybody say what's up.
What's good, guys? I'm Hadji Gaviota. Nice to be back on. The real ones know this is not the first Hadji.
It's not
Sonic
the first
Goodies.
time. We had you like way back in the day, and when we first started the podcast, way back when. And that was actually like your first interview, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That was
the studio, man.
Yeah, back in Queens, man. Good times. When you get like famous for real, we gonna have to bring that one out the vault, bro, because that's the official first Hadji Gaviota interview. I see you getting more interviews now, but I just want to let it be known that we had the first exclusive Hadji Gaviota interview.
That shit is rare.
Man, we up nice and early today. I'm still trying to wake up, but but yo, man, it's been a while since that first time that we linked up.
Absolutely.
You've been doing a lot of great things. you done came up already. So last time we linked up, you had just released Captain.
Yeah.
Which was like would you consider that like your first like official project, like full length?
I would call it my first full length for sure. Yeah. Although like.
I know you released like other stuff before, like little EPs and little like throwaways, whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely the first thing I think I ever like really had like that level of control on. Even the EPs that came before Captain, like they were all songs that at one point I thought were gonna be on Captain, and then I was just like, nah, we got better, and we kept getting better at making shit. So I would be like, I just want to drop this for the hell of it. So that's what those first 2-ish EPs were. They were just like songs that at one point I envisioned being a part of it, and then I was like, nah, we got better. And that's what Captain became.
I feel you. Yeah. And they're not even like available anymore.
Nah. I mean, you can get them on like SoundCloud and like Bandcamp and shit. But the second one's actually still up.
Okay.
But the first one, because it was on TuneCore, and like the way TuneCore works with like distributing music, like you have to pay per year per project. And so it came up. And like, I don't know if I would have actively gone and taken it down. But when I was given the option of like just not renewing it, I was like, yeah, I'm probably just not gonna renew
I feel you.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because me being your friend and also like a fan, I've seen you grow from like
definitely
those days to like where you're at now.
100%.
And it's the growth is real, man. It's so evident.
Thank you.
And you just dropped Purgatory a couple months ago, doing numbers.
Thank you,
It's
man.
up on Spotify, up on every like streaming platform. And
yes,
man, like from Captain up onto Purgatory, you could already see like a huge difference in quality and the production, even in your singing, your own style. I feel like you've developed more into like yourself and you're finding your sound more.
Word.
So like, what do you think what's the difference between making those two projects?
So I think when I was making Captain, like I didn't really have an idea of like what Hadji was yet. I think I found it the moment I wrote Harajuku.
Yeah.
Which is cliche because it's the song that did the best. And like that's not why I felt that way. Like the moment cause that song existed for probably like 6 months before it came out. And like I remember the day we wrote that shit. I was like, oh, this is kind of different, you know? Like, and I just felt like a little differently about it. And so there's a lot of songs on Captain, like honestly, like that I don't feel are up to the same level. I can't tell my mom that shit, nor could I take it down because it would hurt her. So it has to stay up there.
No. But it's good that it's like you should leave it up there just because it's like it serves like as like a point of reference.
Absolutely.
And it's not a bad project at all. But it's
sure.
just like you're definitely like grown since then.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way about Harajuku. It's like I feel like that's the Hadji sound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there were songs that that was the first time I ever started like interacting with like record label people and all that shit. And like there were like 3 songs on there that people were like especially like giving me that kind of feedback on. Like the record label kind of like, yo, this is something we're interested in. It was like Golden Boy, Harajuku, and Lovely were the 3. That were the ones that like where people were telling me like, oh, like this is, you have any more like this, blah blah blah. And like so when I first made Captain, like I didn't know that anybody was gonna hear this shit, like beyond like my friends and shit. So I didn't put a lot of thought into like, oh, this is gonna be XYZ. Like I was just thinking like as a kid who just grew up like nerding out over like album track lists and shit, I was like, I'm just gonna make an album the way that I would know how to make an album. And I remember like I didn't really know much about how artists were supposed to like carry themselves or like have music ready to go or like the strategy behind dropping shit. So that was all the music I had. Like that was it.
That was it. You had no throwaways.
I had none that were like, they were throwaways. They were the type of shit I wouldn't show somebody, right? So I dropped it And I remember
it was no deluxe version coming out.
No deluxe. I didn't pack it for the streams or anything like that. I gave you 12. That was exactly what I had. That was pretty much it. And I remember my first label meeting was like maybe like a day or two after. And I walk in and they're like, yeah, so like you got like anything else? And I was like, nope. Like pretty much straight up. Like, I really don't.
Listen, man, you gotta keep it real.
So through that process though, like I was able to learn like how I'm supposed to like strategize like dropping shit and like how much time goes between like I have so much more of an understanding on like why a song gets made in like 2019 doesn't come out until like 2021. If just for an example, like people like sit on shit, they send it to people sit on that. They're like, oh, my boss is going to love this. Their boss doesn't love it. You got to send it to somebody else. And it goes to a third person and a fourth person and a fifth person. And there's just like so much like back channel shit going on. But I was learning about all that from the process between Captain and Purgatory. And so like I feel like as an artist too, I wasn't as comfortable with singing as I am now when I made Captain. So I was like really reaching like to do like a song like Lovely. Like, and I remember practicing it 100 times before I did it live the first time, like just sitting in my car, like just doing that shit over and over and over and over again. And now it's like I have an entire range like above that.
Yeah, I heard you mention that like you actually started even taking like singing lessons.
Absolutely.
Since then. Like,
yeah, I got a voice coach for a little bit last year. Shit got weird with the pandemic, but that definitely helped me a lot. Just gave me like some things to like think about and focus on and stuff. So I started to hear a difference with that too. But it really was just like reps, like anything else. You know, you just get better at something doing more of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it works with everything, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And singing is not the kind of thing that like, you know, people are born with or not. Like it's just the kind of thing that's learned.
It's just a skill, basically.
Yeah, and so I had to just keep practicing it. But I definitely improved on that, which I think helped a lot. And then just being able to like feel like you can do shit. Yeah, makes it easier to do shit. So you just try something that maybe I could have done in 2018, but like I didn't think I could, so I would never try it. And it's just like doing more of that. I worked with a couple more producers, which just gave me more insight on music making. I still work with Mike, who made Captain with me like entirely, pretty much. Like we still work super closely together. The next project, like, was just like a 4-track EP. Like he produced all 4 of them.
Nice.
And he did 4049 Spruce on Purgatory too. But just like working with other producers, I was able to like see other processes and get other ideas on how you can make shit and like make shit in different places and like different equipment and shit and just kind of learning, you know, like anything else.
Yeah.
I think that's really where I grew the most in that process. And also just like accepting, like figuring out like what my best shit is and like reading reactions from people when I send it to them and like knowing like, oh, this person listens to X, Y, and Z, so if I send them like a Q song, like they're not gonna get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like understanding that they don't have to get it. Or like just, but then being like, yo, if I make a song that's supposed to be in that X pocket and I send it to the X guy and he's not fucking with it, that tells me something.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like just kind of like being able to compartmentalize, like, because your friends are always going to tell you your shit is fire. Like if they're good friends, you know?
Yeah.
And like they don't have to be like super hard critics. Like you can have friends who just hype you up and just tell you your shit is great. Like no matter what demo I send you, they'll be like, yo, this is fire. Because they love you. So of course they're going to tell you that. Like you're their homie.
Does that do anything for you though? Like realistically?
It gives you the confidence. I think that's really important. Because there was a time like when I would only send my shit to like the industry types and like they just be killing your shit. They're like, this doesn't sound that good.
Shit,
like,
did it sound good?
It sounded, if I sent it to my friends, they'd be like, yo, this is better than any of my other friends. So this shit is fire, you know? But it's like, it's a really grueling process sometimes. So it's like, you have to be able to take the really harsh criticism from the people who, like, both of these people want the best for you. You know what I mean? But they just go about it in different ways. So you take the really harsh criticism from the people who are in the music industry, but you take that with a grain of salt like anything else because they're listening to it like the way that, like, fucking Simon Cowell listens to some shit on American Idol. Like, they can't wait to find a reason to not like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're, like, looking for reasons to shit on it.
As they should, because that's how you're going to make the song better. But then you have the friends who hype you up and remind you, like, why you do this shit in the first place, because like if you just rely on the industry people, like they're just gonna kill your shit and your confidence is gonna drop like super low. You know what I mean? Like I'll send a song to one of my friends and he'll be like, oh, I love this, like, yo, this is super dope, I really fuck with the way you did this, blah blah blah, and I'll send it to an industry dude and be like, damn, it'd be so much more fire if like X artist was singing this, and I'll be like, yeah, all right. So you get two different kinds of
do you have
feedback.
A friend that like is an actual like listens to it to try to make you better?
Oh yeah.
Because I would say like if you're my friend and you keep sending me stuff that like, okay, it's cool because you're my friend, but like in reality it's like that's not gonna do anything for you. If I'm like, yeah, this is lit, this is lit, this is lit. Do you have anybody who's like a friend that'll be like, yo, what about like this verse? Like that doesn't sound as good. Or
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I have a couple friends who. One of my boys, Daniel, who I grew up with, like we've known each other since we were like 4 or 5. He's a great like hip hop dude. So when I send him shit that has any kind of rapping involved, like I send it to him because I know he's gonna like tell me like, you know, like, oh, this sounds XYZ, like, nah, I don't know about this, blah blah blah, right? Because he gives me like really good feedback in that kind of lane. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that I've met like through just like the industry, you know, who like really work in this shit, and like they'll keep it real with me usually. So
like musicians.
No, like the A&R types, like the people who work at labels or blogs, or I have a couple homies now that do that kind of shit, and so through those channels, like I'll get like the real harsh feedback that I need, like, and that gives me like, because those people of course have their own opinions too, so it's like you might, like when I first started, like, and I only knew 1 or 2 people like that, I would take that person's opinion as church, because I was like, yo, whatever they say is gonna be like the A&R opinion, but it's like that's also like just one A&R's opinion, so if you send something to like 5 different people, like, and you three of them really like one of them, that's a good sign. Yeah. You know, you don't need to get all 5 of them, because you don't need to get every listener in the world. Mm-hmm. So it's just like learning how to like just balance that, and like the thing where like your real friends come in handy, like as they do with anything else in life, is that they just like they don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. They just fuck with you for you.
Support.
Yeah, and they keep you going. That shit is really important. I think a lot of people overlook that in the process. I'm really lucky to have like super supportive friends who rock with my shit and help me do shit.
Just to go back, because this interested me, you said you keep Captain particularly on because your mom.
Yeah.
So do you like, with any music before you even put it out, does your mom get to listen to it and whatnot? And how does she react? Does she always like, oh my god, this is amazing?
She's heard some things early, but I'm never like, yo, I need to play this for you. I actually used to hide my music from my parents because I was embarrassed. Not embarrassed necessarily, but like
We know what that is, though, you know?
Yeah, like my parents were like really good music listeners. Like I grew up like with really cool music in the house, and I was like, damn, I don't want to play this from the ass and have them like have to lie to me and say it's good. Like the way you put like a little macaroni painting on the fridge and shit. Like I never wanted it to be like that.
And it's like your mom is always gonna love like whatever.
Exactly.
Off the strength that you're her son. Yeah.
My mom found it earlier than my dad did. My dad is like, he's a little more like oblivious, so like he was like, I was gonna be able to get away with that shit for a while. He didn't know about it until I had label meetings, actually. He was like, "You're making this?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You shoot these videos?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "The fuck?" Yeah. He's like, "When the fuck were you doing this?" You know. But yeah, it can be interesting in terms of keeping music up. Like I've had this discussion with a lot of artists, and like, cause there's times like when I was like starting to get into making music, but I hadn't really figured out how to do it yet. And you see an artist like Post Malone come out with like White Iverson first, and you're like, oh my god, this like is his first song? And it's like, it's not his first song. Of course it's not his first song, but like the way like people take shit down so that they can roll out and have it be their first song or whatever. I've been tempted to have that kind of like approach to shit. My usual because it is true, like if you go on and you listen to Purgatory, like by the Spotify algorithms, like if the shit just autoplays after, you might get some song on Captain and be like, what is this shit? Like, not necessarily in a bad way, but it just, like, it wouldn't be the first foot that I would want to put forward. Yeah. But that being said, like, I actually think there's a lot to be shown for, like, showing somebody's growth and showing, like, people and, like, kids who were like me when I was at that stage that, like, you aren't just, like, born able, some people are, like, but you aren't just, like, born able to just make fire music, like, you have to learn how to do that shit.
There's a learning curve.
Yeah, it's a muscle that you have to like work on forever.
Exactly. And so I just like, you know, if my old shit can show people that you can grow as an artist, like then I want to leave it up. It's kind of like, I mean, Tyler is like that too. Like there's kids who grow up now who have no idea that like Goblin exists. And shit like that.
Which is wild to even think about.
They're probably going to find it.
And it's like, he has shit even before Goblin. Like, Bastard.
Yeah, Bastard is great.
Tape one, and then they'll hear it and try to cancel it.
I actually like Bastard more than Goblin, probably.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though Goblin has some like Goblin has Yonkers and She, which is like just
Yonkers just turned 10 years old actually a couple years ago, which is wild to think about.
Yeah.
And just like how far he's come.
Yeah. I saw that shit.
It's wild to think about just how much he's done within that period, and also the fact that he's still like famous like after this long, because you see that shit and you don't like, you wouldn't really have thought like he's gonna have a 10-year like lifespan, or like 10-year plus. You know?
Yeah, I remember like. Because, I mean, that's when we were in high school.
Yeah,
like, so we saw, like, the Odd Future shit, like, firsthand. And I remember, like...
It was made for us.
Yeah, it was made for us, 1,000%. And so, like, I was definitely more of a Frank Ocean guy than a Tyler guy at the time, but I was super into both of them. Like, Frank, like, hearing Frank for the first time, I was on the radio or like I was driving home from school and Hot 97 was on at like 3 p.m. on like 2011. For some reason they were playing Novocaine, and I was like, bro, what is this? This man's talking about like Stanley Kubrick and shit like on like Hot 97. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is so fire. That's like what really got me into songwriting, like without realizing it. I think was just listening to Frank and being like, yo, the way this guy writes songs is fascinating.
No, that's
and like
facts.
it sounded good, obviously, but it was like the way he wrote is what makes me want to write
I think
songs.
that's my favorite thing about him. It's like, yes, he's a great singer and all that shit, but like I think what makes him stand out the most for me is like he be saying shit in a way that like nobody else says it, you know? And
that's the kind of shit that I strive for sure as an artist, is like that kind of shit. But so I was also into Tyler. Although like Tyler was like, you know, talking about like killing his prom dates and shit. I was like, bro, don't do that. But like I still listen to it, you know? I was like, I wouldn't do that.
Like looking back, bro, you like listen back to these songs and it's like, damn, why was I listening to this?
Not as shit.
It goes the same way though, which I had this conversation with me and a couple of my friends. It's like everyone's like, whoa, this was crazy. It's like, did you ever go back and watch those terrible, terrible television shows I used to watch?
Oh, yeah.
That you're like, yo, this is the best movie, and you watch it and you're like, yo, this is straight up an ass pack.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like similar vibes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
like
Tyler wasn't an ass pack, but it was just like the content was just like.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Well, he was like 17, so it's like I don't blame him.
It was
like,
his edgy phase. It was his edgy
everybody
phase.
got an edgy phase. I'm not mad at it.
Who even cares though?
Yeah.
It's not. It's art.
Low key, like if she comes on, I'm not skipping that. Like,
not at all.
Like I'm not skipping that song.
Not even close.
If that fucking Vampires
I listen to that shit to this day.
comes on by him, you don't skip it. It's like hard. Like you don't skip good music, you know?
Yeah.
No, I'm not skipping most old Tyler songs.
All right. But back to Hadji Gaviota. So like, how far when you were making like Purgatory, like were you just like how far into the process did you realize okay, like these group of songs are an album, like
Word.
And how like what was the concept behind Purgatory, like what made you name it Purgatory?
I got lucky that I had the name Purgatory before quarantine.
Okay.
It was I don't remember what made me think of it. I had the idea for the song 1-800-Purgatory just in my head, just because like I felt like I was in purgatory as like a concept, like in the music world, because it's like I had this song that was doing pretty well on Spotify and shit, but in the grand scheme of things, like people have no idea who I am. Yeah. So it was like this weird in-between period where it's like, okay, like I'm kind of doing something, but I'm not really sure if I'm doing something. Like maybe I'm doing something. And then also I just feel like you're like early to mid-20s are like a very like purgatory-ish time. You're like, I'm an adult, but I'm not an adult. Like I'll be doing like some old shit and some young shit.
I be having this conversation all the time. Like everybody in their 20s is at a different like point. Like I got 100%. Friends that got their own crib. I know people that are married in their 20s, have kids. Mm-hmm. I know people that like still live with their parents. Yeah. I know people that like are still in college. Some that have graduated. Like everybody in their 20s is in a completely different like spot. So it definitely throws you off. So I definitely relate to that for sure.
Now I have homies with kids in like great situations, like, you know, like raising a family, and like I had to go to the pediatrician to get a shot yesterday, bro. That shit made me, I put that on Twitter. I was like, bro, I've never felt like, what the fuck. I have people taking their like friends, people younger than me, taking their kids to the pediatrician, and I gotta go to the pediatrician to get a shot, bro. That shit's crazy. But yeah, so Purgatory, I was just in this weird like kind of like, you know, like not really sure what's going on, period. Yeah, and it definitely wasn't an album until quarantine though. But I had 5 out of 7 of those songs were finished before, or not finished, but at least like existed as songs that I knew I wanted to put out before quarantine hit. So like August 2019, I made 44 Ounce Spruce. Me and Mike made 44 Ounce Spruce, Hidden Different, and 46 in Bliss in the same like 6 hours. Damn. Which was pretty lit. That was a good day for us. So I had that song. I was sitting on it for a while. Then I want to say September, October, I had just started working with this guy Cheddar, and me and Cheddar made Runner's High in September, October. So those are the 2 older songs. I think Keshi's Hands came about like November, December, and then Telescope was January 2020. So shit, we were still outside and shit back then. And so I had those are 4 songs from the album. I made 1-800-Purgatory literally a week before quarantine started. I had just linked with this guy, Dan Edenberg, through a friend of mine. He's a really dope producer. We made that song. It was the only time I ever met him in person. We sat down, made that shit, and that was it. So
Had you already like written down the song beforehand?
I had voice noted the 1-800-Purgatory. So I played that for him, and then he just like sat down at the keys and just started playing these he's such an amazing musician. So it was like he just ripped that shit from the top. So I had those 5 songs going into quarantine. And then just through like I would just like sit around, smoke weed, and just make beats like in my room because I had nothing else to do, and like I hadn't produced in a minute.
Facts.
And I had been working with this kid Jack LeBeau's a little bit in person too. Before then, and like we became homies, and I started both like Guido, Miss Karma, and Hot Air like at home, and then sent them to him, and then he polished them and made them sound as good as they ended up sounding. Like shout out to him. So we did those together, production wise. Those two came about during quarantine. I think I started to like conceptualize it as a project together, probably in like I want to say like May. Probably like during the quarantine, I would just sit around in my room and just like be lighting candles and just like staring at the mirror and shit and like listening to my music. And I was like, oh, this is a project. I can see this. So
for this project, did you like record more songs than you did it like for Captain? Like, did you have more songs that you like that didn't just make the cut for Purgatory?
Honestly, like, not really. I think I actually like because shit was so disjointed making it. Like, there weren't a lot of like. I never had like a Purgatory sessions. I was never like, yo, we making some shit for Purgatory. Like for Captain, I was like, yo, we making some shit for Captain. We making some shit for Captain. We making some shit for Captain. Like I never had like that for Purgatory because I was just making shit to make shit. Like in like late 2019, like I had just started working with all these new producers and like people in New York were hitting me up like, yo, let's link. And I had just left my full-time teaching job to work as a substitute, so I was starting to work during the day and like just do more music shit. And so. Like, I was just taking every session I could get, just making shit and, like, worrying about how it would come out later. So I never really, like, had sessions. I mean, there's songs from that era, for sure. But I never really thought of them as being a part of Purgatory. Like, Purgatory was basically me taking all of that and thinking, like, how can I make this, like, something that's, like, cohesive? And I worked, like, backwards that time for this album. So there weren't a lot of songs that were, like, for Purgatory, but there are songs from, like, the era that
from that time.
And there are songs that, like, at some point I thought maybe would be a part of it that didn't make it. Definitely.
Like, 46 and Bliss was, like, around that time as well.
Yeah, I never really conceptualized that one as being a part of a project. Like, it always felt like it was pretty different from the rest of those songs. Yeah. So on Purgatory, I was
still
doing...
a fire song, though.
Definitely. I'm glad it came out. Song. I actually sat on it for a minute and, like, didn't even think about putting it out. Same thing with 4049, honestly. Which is funny because both of them did really well. But I was just like, I don't know. I liked it and I wasn't sure what to do with it. And then I put that out when Bandcamp did the first Bandcamp Friday thing in like March. So it was like the first time they were like, yo, we're going to waive all the fees for artists, like go crazy. I was like, damn, do I have a song I'm just like sitting on that I could put out? And like 46 was finished. So I was like, just put this shit out and see what happens. And then people were hitting me up like, bro, like, put this fucking shit on Spotify. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, all right, I'll do it. Like,
facts. So, I'm glad you did it because I actually really like that song.
Me too.
I remember you sending it to me before, like, you know, when you were sitting on it. And I was just like, yeah, this is probably like one of my favorites that you got right now.
Yo, yeah. I remember I played you a bunch of shit. So some of those songs from those sessions too, I guess. I hadn't thought of it as Purgatory yet at that point. But it was just whatever the next project was going to be. But yeah, so those ones there definitely were a couple joints on there. And some shit, like, I'd be revisiting shit all the time. Like, with Guido, like, I had that hook. Like, I made a song with that hook in, like, 2017.
Damn.
In my crib on the worst fucking beat, like, you could possibly imagine that I just made by myself. And I was just, like, when I was making this beat for Guido, I was just, like, shorty wanna ride, shorty. I was like, yo, that shit fits. So I'm bringing it back. And then we just finished it, and it came from there. So these ideas never die. You know, you sit on them for a while. Like, sometimes you get tired of them. Like, that definitely happened to me with 46. That happened to me with 4049. Where it's like you have these songs that you just, because you've had them for so long, you get tired of them. But then you realize, like, the world has not had them. So, like, you can just let them have it, you know?
Yeah.
So just trying to keep that balance.
All right. Something that I really like too about Purgatory is the cover. Like, can you explain, like, what was the inspiration behind that? Because I really fuck with that.
So everybody was saying it was like some weekend shit, which I get, right?
Because it does remind me of like the After Hours,
for sure, yeah,
like cover art.
And that was like more of a coincidence. We might have been inspired by the same thing because there's this Italian music video. I went on a school trip to Italy when I was in like 10th or 11th grade, and we were sitting in our like hotel room, me and my boy Alex, and we put on like Italian VH1 or some shit, and this music video came on, and I swear this is the greatest music video I've ever seen in my life. It's called, I don't know how to speak Italian, but it's like Tutto l'amore c'è o or some shit like that, and it's this video with this guy. The song's fire too, kind of, but like this guy is just like walking through the street, and then basically all these like extremely unfortunate things happen to him. Like he gets like T-boned by a truck, and then like the people in the truck get out and start trying to beat the fuck out of him. He starts running, like he gets chased by a dog up to a roof where there's like snipers trying to shoot at him, and he shoots back with his finger guns and like kills them. It's wild. It just makes no fucking sense. But it ends with like all these explosions, and then he lies down and his face is all beat up, and he just starts laughing. And I thought that shit was so fire.
Yeah.
So that was like really my inspiration behind like the Guido video and like doing that whole thing. Like we were like, yo, we're gonna take these Rock'em Sock'em robots and have them punch each other, but it makes you like bleed in real life, and then it's gonna end at that beat switch. Is gonna end with like me all fucked up like that. And because like I did the hair thing and it looked cool, and like Abby, my homie Abby, did that for me, and she did the makeup. Which like we were trying to hire a makeup person, we couldn't find somebody.
That came out fire too.
Yeah,
Shout
she's
out to
been
Abby.
so good.
She really got it.
That's what I mean by homies who like really support you. Like she's like always helped me with like the most random shit and done a really good job with it. There's something that we're working on now that's like she killed too. That, like I can talk about later, I guess. But she like I would find the most random jobs for her to do, and she kills them every time. Yeah. But she killed the makeup, and because I look so fucking cool like that, we were like, yo, we gotta take a picture of it. I had a different cover. The VHS tape cover was like the original cover that I had for Mad Long, and I had already ordered the VHS like boxes by the time like that we did that video, so I was like, I can't change it. So I kind of like having like the alternate versions. Yeah. But yeah, that's where that cover came from. It was definitely inspired by that one Italian music video.
That's dope. Speaking of Guido and Miss Karma.
Yeah.
Were those like two songs originally like two separate songs? Like, and if so, then what made you want to put them together like back? We
made Miss Karma to be the second half. Like it wasn't a song by itself.
Okay.
But we were just like, me and Jack were just like trying to think of like the weirdest, craziest shit we could do, and so we had Guido. Guido originally had an entire different first verse, and then what is now the first verse was the second verse. And we were like, nah, I think it should start with like Shorty Wanna Ride, because like that shit kind of hits right in the beginning. So actually, my homie Serena Isioma, I sent that to Serena, and Serena told me that they were like, you should just start with the hook, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So we reimagined it, and it was kind of short now. So we were like, yo, what if we put something totally weird at the end of that? And I had just been like practicing my guitar a little bit, so I played those chords, and I was just like Googling like weird chords you could play, and just like I started on the piano, and then I just learned them on guitar, which is like usually how I do shit. And I just like started singing like that shit, and we were like, yo, this is kind of fire. Let's just put it together. But nah, so Miss Karma didn't exist like without Guido. Nice. But I think it's like just as important in the song at the end of the day. So yeah, it just came out pretty cool. We did that shit on Zoom, so it's like pretty sick. That was like definitely the most successful Zoom session I've had.
Zoom sessions, 2020.
Get any artist to talk about Zoom sessions, bro. Zoom sessions are the fucking worst. You never know what you might get, but like it's just so tough.
No, I can't imagine, bro. It's I feel like it'd probably be hard to just have like recreate like that same creative energy.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah,
you can just do the best with like what it is, you know. Yeah. Somebody will just play you something so fire that even Zoom can't bring it down. That's like really the best way to go. Yeah. Like it's really hard to just make some shit from scratch on Zoom, because there's this app called Audio Movers, which is sick, and it lets you like hear someone's like Ableton or Logic or whatever like directly, but there's like a 4-second lag. So like as the artist, as like the vocalist, if I'm like saying some shit, they're hearing it 5 seconds behind like the beat.
So it's not even on beat.
Yeah,
like,
so it's on beat for me, but it's not on beat for them. So you can't play off each other and be like, yeah, that's fire. I like what you did with that. And it's like really hard to just like record vocals and send them back. Like that process is just really grueling. Like me and Jack did that for Miss Karma, and because we were in the zone, it was like easy to do. But I've never had that like kind of rapport sense. Although thankfully like shit has been like kind of low key open studio wise since like June or July. But yeah, that was rough. That was like that Zoom period. I was like, damn, I gotta become a producer because like I'm not gonna be able to do this shit. Like it's just like, and I'm not somebody who like gets beat packs from like producers and shit. Like usually I'm in the room like making shit. So it's like I had to learn how to adjust to that, which is cool because like I don't think Hot Air or Guido would exist without that. So I'm thankful for that in a weird way. But yeah, like you know, it's just. It was bizarre. The Zoom sessions, man, fucking worst. Any artist will tell you that shit. If you like, it's the first thing they shit on. The producers hate it, artists hate it, managers hate it, everybody hates it.
I think even if you're not an artist, like I just hate Zoom sessions.
Everybody hates Zoom, so it's like what? Like you just imagine trying to be creative on Zoom, which is even worse.
Yo, when it comes to like working with these new producers that you worked with on Purgatory, like. How did those links come about? Like, was it you reaching out to them? Was it them reaching out to you? Like, how did that go?
So with Cheddar and the guys that shifted, they reached out to me. They had like an intern whose job I think was just to find artists, and they found me, and like I was like, hell yeah, let's get it. And then we just hit it off. With Dan, who did 1-800-PURGATORY, that was through my friend Max, and like he was just looking for sessions for Dan, and he was like, yo, Hadji would be good, so he set that one up. And then Jack was a fun story. So my homie Audrey Nuna, who's super dope. I definitely recommend checking her shit out. Yeah,
for sure.
We did a show together in like May 2019, and I was like, yo, this girl's fire. Like I really fuck with her shit. And then she had a show at like some venue downtown. I think it was like Bowery Electric or some shit like that. And I was just bored because, you know, back then, like, I was on Wednesday. I wasn't doing shit. I would just pull up to shows. Like, that's just, like, what I did. You know, I would be at, like, 3-4 shows a week. It's crazy to think about. It feels like so long ago.
I miss it.
But I just pulled up to her shit. And I was like, yo, fuck it. And I met 2 of her friends, Callie and Raquel. And then they were super cool, so we just, like, hit it off. And then one day they invited me out, and I was just there with them hanging out. And then Raquel was like, yo, you should work with my homie Jack. And, like, I had never met Jack. I never heard his shit, and then we ended up just linking on that, and we just ended up making cool shit together. So it was like a really funny story. It was just like, yeah, it wasn't through some industry shit. It was just like a homie of a homie.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. I feel like those are the best like connections to make.
Definitely, 1000%.
When it happens just like naturally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of like features now too, which is fun. Like just like collabing with artists. Like artists will send me shit with the open, and I'll just throw on. I'm on my little like feature run.
Nice.
I feel like it's been really fun to do that show. I'm excited for those to come out. Those should be pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear them, man.
Yeah.
So earlier you were saying about how like one of your favorite things about Frank Ocean, kind of like what made you a fan in the first place, was his writing style and shit.
Yeah.
And actually, I think one of my favorite things about your music is like your writing, to be honest, and like your lyrics.
I appreciate it.
I really love how like you take some like random ass concept and you turn it into like a love song.
Yeah.
Like for example, in like Runner's High, that you talk about like getting your shoes out and like fucking them up because you're ready for this date. But then she doesn't pull up, so then you go running in them, and then as you're running, you get this runner's high, and you kind of like forget about this person and like how she is, whatever.
Facts.
And yeah, man, can you just like elaborate? Like I really just love shit like that, like just how you turn these concepts into like love songs, into entire songs. So like, can you elaborate more on like where you get inspiration from when it comes to things like that? Like, how's your writing process like?
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate it first of all, but like when it comes to some shit like that, like that really happened, kind of. I didn't go for a run in them, but I was just like, I remember like this girl was like, yo, we're gonna hang out, like it's gonna be lit, blah blah blah, right? And so I took the box out of the closet. And I was like, I'm wearing my off-whites, so it's gonna be fire, like, you know, I'm gonna be just my shit, right? And then she's like, she just dubbed my shit. Damn. And I was like, and I had a studio session later, and I was like, this really pissed me off. So I just like pulled up to the studio. I was like, yeah, I got an idea, and like that's kind of where that came from. So that started with the first line, you know, like I took my favorite Nikes out the box. And then I guess I'm going to have to try running in them for once, blah, 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 right? So I started from there, and I just tried to expand that into its own thing. That's usually, like, when I have a song like that, you know, where there's a concept, I try to start with, like, one catchy idea and just kind of build off that. There's a song I have coming out called Fit Pick, which I think I sent to you, probably.
Probably.
It's on the EP, but it's, like, kind of, like, all just, like, word plays on, like, fashion and, like, clothes and style and shit. And so it just started with, like, me having one double entendre on that, and then I was like, where could I take this? So I built that out into a whole hook that's like everything is a double entendre on some like clothing brand and shit. And then in the verses, I just started thinking about like the relationship between like clothing and like all these different times in my life, and like how you try to get fly to look like this, and why you want to do that, and like, oh, I'm on the basketball court, I want to wear this, like, oh, this girl's here, I gotta wear that. And it's like everything that I built out, it kind of became this thing about like nostalgia and like personal image and shit. And like you can just take like any small little concept like style and just like expound it into shit like that. I love doing shit like that. That's really like when I get the most excited. But yeah, usually it starts with like one little idea, and then I just try to build off of that and just like see where I can take it. There's definitely songs where that haven't come out because like musically they weren't as fire as like Runner's High was, or like any of the other shit where like I took a weird concept and just kind of tried to build out of it. But yeah, I love doing shit like that. It's like my favorite thing.
So when it comes to like your writing, like for like the Fit Pick song,
yeah,
like you're saying you built all these double entendres and like if the verses and then the chorus, do you like write it out physically, or do you just
I have a
go
notebook
to the studio and record things and then you go back and re-edit it as you're rapping or singing again?
It definitely depends. I usually write too, like as we make something. I'll voice note something. Like I have the OG, like I'm a dig for it just because it's funny. I have like the OG like Runner's High voice note, like at like 1 in the morning, that I was just like in bed and like, cause we wrote the verses and I didn't have the hook yet. Man, I'm gonna probably play some funny shit out loud looking for this. No. Nope. Oh, I'm in 2020. No wonder. I was like, that's lukewarm, bro.
Yeah, like that just dropped.
Yeah, who fucking knows, bro? These voice noting, man. This shit is hilarious. I want to say it's gonna be no, cause I moved then. I was in Greece then, so it's gotta be like maybe. Nope. Nope.
You be beatboxing the beats too.
Nope. That's it. I think that's it. Oh, it's actually a different song that was kind of similar. So it must be before that. Similar. That's funny. I just could not sleep at night. And I was like, oh my god, this is it. I was like, I can't wait to get to the studio to do this.
At that point, you didn't have the beat or anything. It was just
I had the beat. I just didn't have the words for the hook yet. So I came back and it came to me at night. And I was like, this is it. I got to do this. So sometimes it'd be like that. There are definitely times where I've tried a bunch of different approaches. Because, you know, artists are always like, or like Jay-Z's like, yeah, I just do everything off the top of my head. Like, I memorize it, blah, blah, blah. I get that because of like, when you're coming off the top of your head and you're not reading, you sound like it, which just sounds more conversational. And like, whether you notice that or not, like, that's definitely a thing. For me, like, sometimes I'll do a melody first and then I'll put words to it later. Sometimes I'll have the words and I'll try to fit the words into a melody, so I'll go the other way around. I definitely approach it different ways. It depends on what I have first. You know?
I've seen kind of like videos of Ye in the studio and Cudi in the studio where they're just kind of like harmonizing and like kind of just like singing, but not even like saying anything coherent. They're just
that's definitely a Kanye thing because all his shit leaks, so you can
like they're just and then they'll just revisit it and actually like put the words to it.
Facts. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I have the words and I have to find a way to get the words to work in a melody, which is like sometimes tougher because you're like, yo, I know what I want to say, but like, yo, that's like 15 syllables and I'm trying to say it in like 7, and you just have to figure out how to still make it
cut it
sense.
up.
That's
how to
definitely
dissect
something
it.
that happens to me a lot. But I try to come at it at 2 different angles because you might get something totally different doing one versus doing the other. But
do you have like a preference as far as like writing to a beat already, or just writing and then making the beat? Like,
I usually write to a beat. Like, the music will already exist when I'm like trying the melody. But usually we're making the beat in the same place as like me writing, and like they're working on the beat at the same time. So when we do that, like I can be like, yo, what if you try going here on that, because I have this idea that might sound cool on that. That's like kind of I think how you can make songs that sound a little different.
I like that,
because you're not just like working on like one producer sent his shit, then you got to work with just that, and it's like rigid, and you can't like.
It's more like you're bouncing ideas from each other.
Facts. That's the best kind of creativity. That's why it really sucked during quarantine. It was like really tough, you know.
Yeah.
But we figured it out.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for the video though, for the Running Side video, you really did fuck up those off-whites.
I still wore them. They're not bad anymore. I threw them in the wash and they survived, and then I tried to dye them black, and it just became like a very light gray. They didn't take to the black. So now they look like pretty nice. Actually, they don't look like they were the ones in that shoot at all. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky with that for sure.
All right, man. So, you know, quarantine, obviously you've been saying it's changed a lot of things for you.
Facts.
For everybody, really.
Facts.
But, I mean, you as an artist, one thing that has changed for sure is, like, the performances and having shows and shit like that.
1000%.
Recently, you did the Major Stage Show, which is basically a show that you, like, pre-recorded and then they released it on a specific day. Can you tell us about that? Like, how that experience was for you? Like,
yo, it was great. So Major Stage is a company that, like, they put on my first show in New York. Like, they've been doing shows in New York for a long time, and they've been kind of growing as I've been growing, so it's been really cool, like, having that relationship for a while. They had this new idea, like, yo, we're gonna just, like, do, like, a live performance album, like, video thing, and that people can rent, like, a pay-per-view, and, like, we want to run it with you first, because, like, you know, we have a lot of experience working with each other, so we figured it would be a good, like, first artist to do this to somebody they already know, you know? And so we ran that. Basically, like, we showed up. I made the backdrops just using the videos that I already like had shot, which is nice. It's my favorite part about doing a visual album is like you just have so much visual shit to work with, like you know. So I had all that. I picked 2 songs to redo, like, and that was Telescope and Hot Air, just to like just make a little different. Yeah, because sometimes when I played shows live, like I had a full band, and obviously I couldn't pull that off, like for this major stage shit. Nor would I really want to, like, because it's just like. I think it would have been cooler like the way we did it, you know, making it like its own little world. And so some of the songs when we would play live would sound really different from the studio version. Some of them would sound really close. So to like recreate that, like I just did, you know, some of my songs like the exact same way, and then 2 of them we remixed like completely and had me and Jerome like made the beats like together and just like redid. Like, you know, Hot Air completely from scratch, and like redid Telescope completely from scratch, and I like performed it totally differently. And then I had Andrew, who's my keyboard player, like just come up to New York to do the 1-800, and he just like completely ripped that shit. So yeah, we just like kind of worked backwards. We were in there for maybe like 6 hours, 5 hours that day, like taping that shit. We did like 2 versions of each song, and then they just like cut between them, pick the better one, and like we recorded it live. So it was cool. It was definitely like a real like live experience, kind of like on some color shit, you know.
So were they were the ones that edited it for you?
Yeah, okay. They did all the editing. They did the audio editing. I made the visuals. Like I made the projector shit, and then the producers made like the studio versions and the remixes and shit. But yeah, they were the ones who clipped it all together. Did all like the back end shit. So it was cool. It was definitely like a good experience for me.
That's dope. And what made you want to dye your hair in the
middle?
Yo,
so the reason why I did that
in the middle of the show.
The reason why I did that shit is because I already had to dye my hair for Lukewarm.
Okay.
Because I wanted my hair to be green in that video, because I wanted it to get caught on the green screen, because I thought it would be funny. And like it only kind of happened like in the video, like it was just not quite green enough, but it still happens a little bit. But I thought it would be funny knowing that Lukewarm was gonna come out in like February. If I did this live video and you could see my hair turn green like progressively over it, and so like we just like thought we'd have fun with it. It was just like a stupid idea. I love stupid ideas like that don't really make sense. Like I feel like I love when artists do that shit. So if I get a stupid idea, I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah, obviously, it's something to talk about for sure.
Yeah, it just made it more fun than like just me being on the mic the whole time, you know.
Yeah. Do you feel like shows now, you know, while this whole pandemic thing is going on, they're gonna take more of like that route? Obviously, since like that's kind of like the best alternative you guys got right now.
I hope so, man. Like I had a great time doing this. I don't think I need to do it like
often
again for a little while, like until I have new music, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think people should do it. I had a great experience. Like it's just tough. Like I had done shows, like I was very like against it, having done like IG live shows or like fucking shit along those lines, like shit on Zoom, shit on like Twitch or whatever. Like having done those experiences and having them be like kind of like mid-pack, I was like, I don't really want to do this again. I'll just wait until live shows come back. And I don't know that I really had an experience watching a live show where I was like, this is lit, like on my computer and shit. But I think some artists did a really good job. Like I know Omar Apollo did one like at like Prince's crib or whatever. Yeah. And then
I watched one with JID. He did a couple shows. I think one of them was for like Thundercat. They like this not Thundercat. It was fucking Kevin
Abstract?
No. The guy that got beat up by Playboy Cardi.
Oh, Kerwin Frost.
Kerwin Frost. Yes.
I saw that shit. I saw the Yachty shit for that.
I hate that.
That's like how you know him? Yeah. That's hilarious.
Nah, I don't even know him just from that. Like, I'm actually a Kerwin Frost fan. It's like, most people don't really, like, know him. So, like, that's the one thing they could
that's what brought me right back.
With it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kerwin Frost, if you see this. But he did, like, a fundraiser thing where it was just, like, a stream where he
that was
like,
super sick.
Yeah, he did. He had Yachty, he had Ariana Grande, he had Thundercat, Jid. And they all killed it. So, like, and I know Jid did, like, another show that was, like, a 30-minute set that it was just, like, him and his DJ.
Yeah.
That shit was cool. Like, I seen it on YouTube.
Yeah. People
like,
can pull it off.
Yeah, there's people that could pull it off for sure.
You just need resources.
Yeah.
So when Major Stage offered me the resources to make it look cool, I was like, let's fucking do it, you know?
Yeah.
But trying to do it at home, it's a whole other endeavor.
Nah,
and I was like,
imagine.
I'm going to spend my time, like, making more music or doing some other shit, you know?
I feel
but because, like, they had the resources, like, I was like, let's do it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been thinking a lot about live shows and shit. Like, Gov Ball is apparently gonna happen in September. They're advertising it
In September?
I'm going because I'm vaccinated, so like, bro, I could walk to Gov Ball. So
you already. Is it gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be the same lineup?
Nah, hell no. It's gonna be totally different. I'm
'cause,
trying to play. I mean, I don't have that.
Because what's it called? Yeah, that lineup they had announced for last summer. That shit was mid. I'm not gonna.
It was mid pack. I would have gone, but like,
only the headliners were like killing.
Yeah, like I would have gone for Tim Impala, but
I would have gone just because I can walk to Gov Ball from my crib.
Yeah.
So it's like I will go to Gov Ball like just for the experience of drinking $14 Bud Lights.
Bro, that's another thing, bro. Everything in these festivals is so fucking expensive. I remember I went with Josh like 2 years ago, like the one in 2019.
Bro, we were looking for you, bro. We couldn't find you.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, because you had like the weekend pass, right?
Yeah. I was there all 3 days.
So we went like this. I think it was the second day. But yeah, bro, Josh got there. He had an 8 all day. He got this like lobster sandwich, some shit like that. That shit was like $20, bro, for a sandwich.
I'm sure.
And that shit was trash. He didn't even like that shit. That shit tasted like garbage, bro.
Yeah. No, I bet.
And the water, bro, the water was like $6 a bottle. Like that shit was insane.
I had my phone stolen too. That shit was ass. I had my phone stolen at Lil Wayne.
Damn.
I was like, damn, bro.
Hate to see it, bro.
Yeah, it really dampened my like ability to enjoy Lil Wayne. But then I got to see Igor, Tyler.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that. I got to see Cardi.
Cool.
We got to see Cardi that day. We got to see Saba and Vince Staples.
Yeah, I was at all 3 of those.
Yeah,
those find you.
Bro, we was.
I saw Claro that day too, which was cool.
Yeah, we couldn't see Claro. Josh wanted to see Claro, but we just didn't make it.
Yeah, that was early. I saw like the last 10 minutes of her shit.
Yeah.
It was funny. I watched Playboy Cardi from like the old head section, like the 21 plus section. I was like sitting, like sipping a beer, watching Playboy Cardi.
Nah, bro, I was like
I
in
was
there
watching
moshing,
the Rolling
like
Stones, bro. Like it was cool.
Nah, we were in there moshing, going crazy.
I was just like singing along to Flatbed Freestyle, you know, like it was like a fucking Elliot Wilson.
That was such a great fucking show, bro. Like that's one of those things I wish I could go back to, bro. Like that day was so fucking lit for me.
Absolutely. That was a great time.
Yeah,
I miss that shit so much. Like that's why I'll be like, I'm like very cautious about going back to shows. Like I don't want to host them until people are comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want to be is the artist who threw a show that everybody got COVID at. That is like the worst thing.
That's not the type of promo you want. That's not the type of PR you want.
Hell fucking no. So it's like I don't want to be that guy, but I will attend them.
Yeah,
especially as a vaccinated dude. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but when shows open, I think like in London they're already having shows.
Yeah,
which is weird because it's like
because they don't have any COVID.
Nah, they have like these new strands though.
They're getting murked out there.
Yeah,
man,
shit crazy.
So, but like you as a performer though, like you definitely miss like just having the crowd too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually am thankful for the time too, because I want to take some time to figure out how I can like improve my live game. Yeah. I was doing this very like live band, like jazzy kind of thing, which was cool. But like I feel like with my new music, like I really want to take shit to the next level, especially with like the emphasis that I've had on visuals. Like I want to be able to start applying that to shows and like just kind of really nailing shit,
like lighting and shit like that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like
that'd be dope.
I want to really get that shit going.
I really like your shows. I mean, I've only been to one of them, and the one I've been to wasn't even with the band. It was just you that day.
Where was that? Soho House?
I don't know what the place is called. It was like
it's on like the 6th floor or some shit, some fancy shit.
That's like a bar. Yeah.
That was a cool vibe. That's like a very different show though. Like,
Yeah, it was like you weren't the only one performing either. There was like a bunch of other people.
That was with like Odetta Hartman and shit. That was a good show. That was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, that was a cool show. Then actually like we were like when you pulled up and you did Harajuku, like me and all your homies, like we pulled up and we were just like singing along and like everybody's just like, yo, what the fuck? How you know this song? Like what song is this? Like I remember somebody like literally like tapped me on the shoulder like, yo, what song is this? I'm like, it's Harajuku by Hadji Gaviota. Get that right now. Get that right now.
All platforms. But yeah, no, I mean shows are a great experience just for seeing people and shit. So I really do miss that, like the community aspect of it all. Is definitely like the best part about shows. That's really what I miss. Like,
yeah, I feel you for sure.
Yeah.
Well, since Purgatory, you haven't slowed down at all. You're still making new shit, still dropping new shit. Recently, you dropped that song Lukewarm. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little about that, man. What is that?
So I was a fan of Huck already, like before I ever got to link with him. He's such a dope artist. Like I saw him live play with My Guys Bathe. They were on the same lineup, and I was like, yo, this dude Huck is just so fire. So I was listening to his shit by myself, and then eventually like we linked and we were like, yo, let's make music together. And we had one session, we made some shit that was different from Lukewarm. We had a second session during quarantine. I want to say like July maybe. I pulled up to his crib and we started with that. I was like, let's be on some surf rock shit. So we started with the surf rock half of the song. He's just like, his bag is like those like jazzy ass chords that he does in the second half. So he was like, yo, I'm gonna try some shit for the second half.
That beat switch.
Yeah, so we did that shit. The chorus was originally just on the second half, actually. Like the got it too, boy. Like I started that there and went back and then tried it on the first half and was like, yo, it works there too. So like we just ended up bridging the two together. And then for the video, like, because it felt so surfy, I like really wanted to do like some shit that was like making fun of like a bad surf commercial.
Yeah.
So like we had the green screen like glitching and shit, and then just like looking really like stupid. But then I wanted it to transition at the beat switch into like being really at the beach. And Adam, who like shot like 4 out of 7 of the Purgatory videos. He did 46 in Bliss. He did a bunch of shit. He's photographed like a bunch of my shows. We're shooting a video today, 6 p.m.
Oh, nice.
Hype.
For one of the Purgatory songs?
Nah. For some new shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
we can talk about that in a sec. But it was like, yeah. So like I really just wanted to like really bridge the two parts together like that, and so we shot that in January. Yeah, I'm excited to get it out. It's like a fun song. It's not a part of the next project or anything, but I felt like it kind of lives on its own as like its own little cool thing. So yeah. I'm glad I got it out.
For sure, it's a dope song. Definitely check it out. Lukewarm out now. So what's next for Hadji Gaviota? You mentioned you got an EP coming out that you're working on.
It's done.
It's done.
And I'm waiting. One song as a feature. I'm waiting to get the vocal stems from them, and then we're gonna mix and master that song.
Do you want to like announce the title yet or anything, or you want to keep that on the reps?
No, I'm not gonna say the title because it's a part of something bigger. So my plan is to do 2 or 3 EPs. I also have a mixtape. I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I want to put it all out, but there's like some things that are out of my control right now in terms of like releasing. That I'm waiting on solidifying. Basically, like, I mean, that's like the classic like artist way of saying that I might sign. Yeah. But I don't give a fuck. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like gamed. It's like I'm looking at some kind of like a distribution deal basically. Okay. And so I'm waiting. The music is finished. I'm waiting on the paperwork and the details and the small little aspects of it. So that project is done. The song Oyster is gonna be the first single. I think I've showed you that tape. Yeah. That's gonna be the first single. We're shooting a video thing for it today. And there's a lot of really cool visual shit, including something that Abby's been working on. And like once you see it, it'll make sense. But like I don't really know if I can make it make sense like until then. Yeah. We have some really cool like we're really trying to take shit to the next level. But before that comes out, most likely because this shit might take a little while. It shouldn't take too long, but it might take a little while to finish that shit. I have a bunch of features coming out that I'm super excited about. I'm on a hyper pop track. I'm on like a punk rock track. I'm on a fucking like some indie tracks. I'm on like some like kind of upbeat shit. Like I just have been like there's like I got a rap verse on a song that I'm super excited about. Yeah, I've just been doing random shit. So I have a feature dropping in I think February 22nd with this kid Durand the Fourth or IV Durand IV. That song's really fire. It's like an upbeat kind of indie song. That one's gonna be cool. I got a rap verse dropping that week with this dude Krishu. It's like a really cool rapper from the Bay. And I got a song with this guy Aaron Taus from Connecticut. So that's why I was up in Hartford this week shooting a music video. Nice. I don't know when that's coming out, but it should be relatively soon. My guy Jerome is dropping his own music, and we have a song together. It's like hyper pop song. It's like super fun. That's gonna come out in March too. And then I have a song with my guy Papi Chulo Tej, who's also fire. He's in New York right now too, like staying with me. That shit's gonna come out at some point in March, probably. Yeah, I just have hella features, like hella like random songs that I was just been a part of, that I'm super excited about. And so that should like I'll definitely be like putting out a lot of shit even while I'm waiting for this EP to drop. But once that shit is like once the paper like the ink is to the paper, the song will be out like very quickly after that. So I'm hyped.
And how long did this new EP take you to make? Like, was it like right after Purgatory you got to work, or was it like...
I think I made Oyster in September. So it was before Purgatory was out, but some of the songs were out. And I like knew what Purgatory was at that point, like in terms of like the songs and shit. I made Oyster in September. I made, or August, late August, September. I made Fit Pick in sometime in October. And then the other 2 tracks, which is Bubbly and Heterochromia, I made both of them in December. I remember I wrote the Bubbly rap verse the day that Purgatory came out. So we made that shit. Hetero Coming was like a week later, 2 weeks later. It was all that music was done before 2021 started. I'm actually working on like the second EP at this point. Just like whatever I want like my second EP to be this year, because I'm trying to do 2 or 3 that are all kind of like in this little world. Yeah, I have a couple like things that I've started, nothing like totally solidified yet, but some shit that I'm pretty hyped about.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So what's Hadji Gaviota listening to right now?
Man, I'm gonna get my phone out just for this
What's
shit.
in your bag? What bag you in?
I can tell you some of my favorite shit from 2020, just some shit I've been listening to this year. Albums from 2020 that I loved: Gene Dawson, Pixel Bath.
Yeah, I know you've been telling us to listen to that. I still haven't gotten around to it, but I know you've been heavy on it. I know.
For fans of like Kevin Abstract, I would say, but definitely brings in some like kind of like 90s grungy shit. It's really cool. It's visually is super sick. The cover
we talked about the cover in like one of the previous episodes. That shit is so fire.
It's fire, man. The new Yeek is fire. We talked about that.
Yeah, that Yeek dropped that new song 3,000 Miles.
That shit is
At
great.
first, when I first listened to it, I didn't dislike it, but it just like wasn't hitting for me. But then like I don't know, I listened to it a couple of days ago and yeah, it clicked. It clicked
for sure. Yeah. The cool thing about being an artist is that now it's like I know people who make fire music, and so like there's a bunch of like people who I really fuck with, who are just like people that I also like can talk to, which is crazy. But this dude Dev Soder, it's like DEV like Dev and then SOTER. Super fire. His song Shaking Bodies is crazy. He just dropped an EP that's really sick. I recommend that. This guy Bloody White, super fire. His song Tongue Tied is really hard. And then I like First Time and I'm Busy a lot. My bad. Also a fire song.
It happens to me too.
Yeah.
That's definitely happened to me in a couple episodes already.
Deb Never. You fuck with Deb Never?
I think it sounds familiar.
Her new song is so fire. I like her EP from, I think it's 2019 or 2020 too, but her new song is so good. Highly recommend that shit. I've been listening to this rapper Tony Snow from Atlanta. He's super fire. Let me see what else I got here. Bad Bunny. Of course.
Can't miss that.
Maldita Pobreza. I don't know if I'm killing the accent there. It's fine. That shit is, I love that song so much.
It's a great song.
Fuck with this dude Heather. I put you on to Heather before.
I don't think you have.
There's no A in it. It's like Hether. He makes really, really, really cool music. He's on the same label as Dijon. If you fuck with Dijon.
Yeah. Josh talked about him in one of our last episodes. So.
Dijon?
Yeah.
Fire. Dijon's the GOAT. Dijon's project last year is crazy. I think I showed you McGee that one time in my crib.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you did. Yeah.
He's super fire. Another one of my favorites from the past year or so. Saya, like Isaiah with no I on the front of it. They make super crazy music. Like it'll range from like all genres. You'll get some like indie shit, some rap shit, some like more like hyper poppy shit, and they kill like every single one of those bags. Might also be on a Hadji project. Can't say anything. But yeah.
Sound like Goodies exclusive.
Also Serena Isioma, they're super fire. They got a TikTok song going crazy right now, but all their shit is crazy. So check all of it out. Let's see what else we got here. Q, just the letter Q.
Q.
You fuck with Q? Q is
not
hard,
Q.
bro. Q is crazy. I want to play you some of this shit, man. Q made like one of my favorite like R&B songs in a minute with "Take Me Where Your Heart Is." Super fire. Yeah, that's a lot of the shit I've been listening to. What about you?
Nice.
You've been bumping.
Well, I found this guy called Reggie.
Oh, Reggie's hard. Reggie.
Yeah. Recently, he's this guy from, I think he's from Houston.
Yeah.
But he lives in LA right now.
He like met Smino in like a session or some shit, and that's like how it all happened. I think.
Bro,
yeah.
He has like only 2 songs out right now,
hard.
but they are both so hard. Like,
I don't wanna hurt no more. What's that song? What's that shit called? That shit is hard. Southside Fade is hard too.
One of them is called "I Don't Want to Feel No More."
I don't want to feel no more. Fact.
That song, if you're like sad, bro, I wasn't even sad when I first found it, but like I listened to nothing but that song for like 2 days.
Facts.
And it's just like him talking about it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, I don't want to feel no more. The hook is like, I want what they give you at the dentist because I don't want to feel no more. And that shit is super fire. Then there's another one called Southside Fade.
Hard.
Super hard. And his vibe is like, bro, he sounds like if like, he gives me like straight up Isaiah Rashad vibes, but like without the rapping.
Facts. Definitely like an R&B like Smino, Isaiah.
Yeah, like bro, like I want them to collab so bad. But yeah, I'm super excited for whatever, like anything he got coming next, I'm with it. Like I can't wait to get like a full project from him. I think he's next up. I was in my little Uzi bag recently.
Respect it. He himself was like saying that Eternal Take wasn't fire.
Yeah, he just said that like yesterday.
Disagree.
I definitely disagree too.
Okay.
But I was listening to mostly like
You don't think it's better than Love Is Rage 1 or 2 or 3?
How would you rank his projects? Like, what would be like your top 3 like Lil Uzi projects?
I feel like it's got to be Lil Uzi versus the World is 1 for me. Then I would probably go Love Is Rage 2. Then I would go Eternal Take. Then I would go Love Is Rage 1, and then I would go the Perfect Love Take or whatever.
Honestly, I think
I like all of them though. To be honest,
I think I would rank them like exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, Lil Uzi Vert versus the World is just like my first introduction to Uzi, so I feel like that just holds special like kind of weight on.
Same.
But either way, like I feel like all his
beats are crazy on that project, man.
Like High Roller, fucking. Canadian Goose.
Definitely on some completely different shit. Especially if you adjust for the time that came out.
Like
there was nothing that sounded like that.
That was like, he really, I'm not saying he started like a sound or anything, but I feel like his sound was.
He might have started a sound. I'm not mad at that.
But I feel like he was definitely part of that like late, like second half of like the 2010s. He was like a staple of
he's
like
that
sound.
He's like a direct child of Young Thug / Lil Wayne. He's like almost an exact replica of like Hot Boy Lil Wayne if you put him in 20.
But do you think like production wise though?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like he has more like it's like that like kind of pop punk indie.
Yeah, I think it's more poppy.
He made like rap, but like Lil Wayne was pop punk, like even on the Carter 2. Like he was the pop punk artist of rap, of course.
I've never thought about it in that way, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think.
Maybe I gotta
like. I don't know. Like, I don't think there's like a beat like High Roller on like Lil Wayne.
Yeah, he was on different production. I think that's really what.
Well, it's the time, but like.
No, he's definitely influenced by him.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Everybody. I don't think you could rap and not be influenced by Lil Wayne or Thug at this point.
Yeah, facts.
Like those are two of the like true father grandfather figures of like basically every rapper.
You know what's crazy to me?
From Kendrick Lamar to fucking Lil Uzi, both inspired by Lil Wayne. That should tell you like everything like that.
It's wild to me how like Thug is so big right now because like when Thug first came out, bro, like he was getting a lot of hate. Like
facts.
But he's big because he did the right thing. He gave people from his friends, his community, people that he had faith in, money to not be living that shit. Like that crazy life that he grew up in. That's why all of these young dudes now like look at him as the god because like the Lil Baby, or I'm pretty sure it was Lil Baby.
Yeah.
He paid Lil Baby
Key
to rap.
He paid Lil Baby to rap.
He made his 2 first mixtapes off of Young Thug's album Money. So like.
Yeah, that's crazy. And now Lil Baby is like a big ass artist too.
A staple. Yeah. For sure.
Which is crazy. So yeah, what else? Been listening to a lot of Freddie Gibbs now. More recently, like this week. Been revisiting a lot of his old shit.
I saw you fuck with the Slow Tie album. I haven't heard it yet.
Yes, and then like yesterday I listened to the Slow Tie album that just dropped. Tyron, I don't know how to fucking say it.
I guess his name. That's like his real first name.
That's his actual first name. Yeah. Super hard. We're probably gonna talk about it in the next Sonic Goodies episode because I know Josh is definitely gonna check it out and fuck with it too. But yeah, I've been like since I heard that album, I've had it like I've played it probably like 7 times like front to back. It's so good. It's so good. And as far as like 2021 releases go, this is like the first album this year that I really, really fuck with.
I gotta say Arlo Parks, 2021, man. Her shit is crazy.
Arlo Parks?
Arlo Parks, bro.
I'm gonna check it out.
Listen to Eugene by Arlo Parks, bro. She's an incredible writer. I feel like if you like she's British, so like I think of like Lily Allen, which is like, but it's like if Lily Allen was like a poet. That's like the kind of vibes I get. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but like it's just like on some production that I feel like I'm listening to like some like British shit, but super jazzy, super cool, and like just like really poetic lyrics. Like some of it's really sad, some of it's just like really beautiful. Like she's like an incredible writer. Like I really, really, really could not recommend that shit enough.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check it out based off of that strength of the
Facts.
recommendation.
Yeah, I would say listen to Eugene. If you like Eugene, you listen to the whole project.
Heard you.
Yeah.
All right, one last thing before we go.
For sure.
The people want to know, what's the next color that you're gonna dye your hair?
Yo, people, every time anybody sees any like weird hair color, they send it to me and are like, do this. So I'm gonna pick one of them. Maybe I'll do like some skunk shit, like just black with like a white stripe through it, like fucking Pepe Le Pew. Or like I'll do some fucking. It's not a spoiler, but like the thing with the next project and like what we're doing visually is like you won't be able to see my head a lot.
Interesting.
Which I'm gonna leave y'all to figure out what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I'm trying. My mind's already running.
I'm gonna show you a picture of some shit that won't be on camera because I want to see your reaction. But let me see.
Oh, I seen that on the close friends.
Facts.
Okay.
I got the actual picture of me wearing it, but we just finished the this part like that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we'll see how that goes.
Facts.
But
today.
yeah, I think we're good. I think we're done for today, man. Thank you
man.
so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me on, man. As always, bro.
Bro, you definitely know you're always invited.
This might be the only episode I don't listen to because it's got me on it. I don't want to hear myself talk, but I'll be back for the next one.
Yeah, for sure, man.
What's your Instagram and Twitter?
It's Hadji Gaviota everywhere, so it's HADJIGAVIOTA on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok,
Every
fucking
DSP out there.
every DSP that exists. I think probably even like Deezer and shit like that. Like it's there. I'm on some Korean shit now too. Like
What?
Melon. Yeah, I'm on Melon. I'm on Bugs.
Trying to get that BTS money.
You already know, man. That shit's crazy. But yeah, I'm everywhere. You can find me.
But yeah, and thank you guys for watching. As always, like this video, subscribe, rate it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything whatever you're listening. And don't forget to share with your friends and anybody that you think might like the podcast and just loves music in general. All right, so we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thank you for listening. Be safe, take care, and peace out.
Peace.